This episode of the Nerdball podcast is brought to you by Fort Meigs CrossFit. Thanks to Fort Meigs CrossFit for allowing me to use their office for my studio space. It's been a great relationship. I just talked to the owner this morning, and it's awesome when she asked me who's coming on. You know, she's interested. Cindy is interested in what's happening with the podcast. So I really enjoy being here. They have classes 7 days a week for any age group. You can check out all their information at fortmeigscrossfit.com. Also, I want to, if you're interested, I had Jake Paluski on a few weeks ago. He is having his movie documentary viewing this week. So there are still tickets available. So go to RealJP, the Facebook page, REELJP, and click on the events link. There's 2 events. Tickets still left for Tuesday night and Wednesday night. But don't try to wait for the door to buy the tickets at the door because they might not be available. So again, Tuesday, tomorrow, 3/21, and Wednesday, 3/22, tickets are still available. And of course, check out our other podcast called 3 Different Dads on the Nerdball Network. We're chugging along there. It's a lot of fun. We've had a few guests come on as dad had to step away. One of the dads had to step away to do things here and there, as dads do. So check out that wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you can't find 3 Different Dads, please let us know, and we'll make sure to get it on the platform that you desire. My guest today is a chef at Plat8. He's also a family friend of mine. We grew up together, so we talk about when we were younger, going to Cleveland Indians games, hanging out at each other's houses, and we talk about him getting into culinary, cooking dishes when he was young, and getting into the program at Whitmer High School, going to Owens for a little bit, then just finding his way through making donuts, being a sous chef, and Alex said he's the executive chef at Plat8. So it was really great catching up and really interested to understand his thought process as being an executive chef. So it was a great episode, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, here's my guest.
This is Anthony Hoye on the Nerdball podcast.
This is the Nerdball podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
There you go, Anthony. All right. Hey, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks for having me.
So just so everyone knows, we basically grew up together.
Yeah, man.
Our parents were really good friends.
Yep.
I just remember, I feel like we were at your house way more than you were at my house.
Yeah. I think I remember being at your house maybe like once growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys were always over.
Yeah.
And then, we'd always plan our Indians trips to the games, the baseball games. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a joke when would do comedy. I used to have a joke that my dad and your dad would play a game of who's the least drunk to drive.
Yeah, exactly. We made it home every time, but it was sketchy a couple times.
As kids though, you don't really like.
No, you don't notice
it.
Yeah, you're like, well, they're just having a couple pops.
But it was always so much fun to like do all those things. Go to your house, birthday party. Sometimes it was just like football games. You would just hang out and do whatever.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. So the first thing I always ask people when they come on here is, what is something you've been nerding out about lately? Something you're into, something like you do, the hobby. I do say cooking, but that's your job.
Yeah.
And the main thing about this question is it's something to get you away from your job.
Yeah.
So do you have any like movies, TV shows, anything?
Definitely like movies. I'm a huge movie buff. Like I have a lot of big DVD collection.
Yeah.
I try to search out like old movies like Clockwork Orange and stuff like that. But also at the same time, cooking, it is my job, but it is also like a hobby too. So I nerd out about like finding new recipes and like looking at different techniques and stuff like that. Also, but getting into a little bit of watching a lot of old kung fu movies and stuff. Yeah.
Well, how'd that come about?
My uncle does jujitsu.
Okay.
And he was telling me about it, so I wanted to start taking some classes here eventually.
Yeah.
But I was looking up like old martial art videos and stuff like that. I was like, that looks pretty rad.
Yeah. So it's just like it started with like you wanted to do it, and then you're finding all these films.
Yeah.
I've never been a buy a movie guy. Like I think we have like 2 movies. Even with kids, like we just like I never like rewatch stuff, and
Yeah.
now with streaming and everything, like
Right.
when our kids were little, we put Mickey Mouse on, or we put
Yeah.
something on Disney Channel. Or
I feel like it
whatever.
was different growing up though. Like
Yeah.
you had movies or like you would rent movies. I don't think there's any of those places anymore.
Yeah, they still got those red boxes.
Yo,
so you could-
do they?
Yeah, I just
okay.
saw one over by my work there. I just noticed one. I've been going to this gas station. I've been working over there for like, I don't know, almost 2 years now, and I just noticed it. This week.
You're like, they still have those?
Yeah, my dad has a big collection.
Does
like,
he?
TV. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's retired, and I'm sure every other day he will look at his movies and like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch that movie.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just not. Also, I don't have time.
yeah. I know you're pretty busy. Yeah.
So I don't know what. Is that something you still like buy DVDs?
Yeah, like I'll go to like Replay and stuff like that, and look at movies, or like I'll dig in the bins at Walmart or whatever.
Is there one particular, besides that Kung Fu you just got into? Is there a particular type of
genre?
movie? Yeah.
Comedy for sure. But I do like action. Like all the John Wick movies are pretty sweet. And like I do like horror movies, like the Scream franchise.
Have you seen the newest one?
Yeah, I actually just went to the theaters the other day and saw it.
Did you like it?
It was all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as the first couple ones, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What horror? Like I like horror too, but it's not something like I like seek out. Like if it's something like, oh, all these people said it's really good, that I might watch it. But
Yeah.
I just don't get it. My brother loved horror.
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. It's something. Yeah, it's tough to get into sometimes, but like the plot is usually like who done it, who's the killer. That kind of intrigues me a lot,
Okay. Yeah.
rather than the the goriness of it and stuff like that. Like I could deal without that, but it's those kind of plots like, oh my god, they're chasing me. Who's this guy and stuff like that.
I watched. I've said it here before, but all the Saw movies.
Yeah,
That was one of my wife and I, our first dates,
Uh-huh.
or one of our first movie dates that we went on, and then we just like every time a new one come out, we just go watch it. And
Yeah.
I don't think she liked them. And I mean, they weren't, as they got more, like we even saw like the 3D one.
yeah. And it got more cheesy.
yeah,
and-
but it was like I don't know, like you get to a point where like, I guess I just got to keep watching them.
yeah. How are they gonna tie this guy up this time?
How are they gonna force this guy to kill
Yeah.
himself? You know?
But horror movies are great for first dates and stuff like that. They want to hold your arm because they're scared and stuff like that.
Yeah. I always, I think what got me for those Saw movies was after the first one, when at the end of the first one, you're like, oh my gosh, crazy ending.
Oh, yeah.
Then like every other one, you're like, okay, what's it? And then they kept giving you those.
Right.
You know? So you're just like, you sit
On
through
the edge
all
of your
those.
seat, you're like, what? Who was it? Oh my god!
Yeah, and you got, and then I like some movies do it, but a lot of movies don't. I like it's at the end. You're like, oh my gosh, it was this person, and then they go back and like show you clips on like this person doing something,
Yeah.
or why you should have seen it was this person.
It was that guy. Yeah, like he was behind the shadows the whole time or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that part about him too.
Yeah.
Again, same thing, like the goriness. I mean, that's all Saw is
Yeah.
gory, but that just waiting for that ending, to see what's going to happen. So when you're not, watching DVDs and films, you also said about finding new recipes and stuff. Do you, because you are the chef at Plate, correct?
Plat8 is what it's called.
Plat8.
But, yeah, but people get it confused all the time. So there's 7 plats of land in Ottawa Hills.
Okay.
And all the investors are from Ottawa Hills, so they thought it'd be ironic if they called it Plat8 as the 8th plat of Ottawa Hills.
Okay.
But it looks like it's spelled plate.
Yeah.
And everyone gets confused about it. I'm going to talk to the owner about changing the name.
I'm glad you said that
Yeah.
because the woman who lets me use his office, Cindy, from Fort Meigs CrossFit, I asked, I was like, yeah, I got a chef, from Plate, and she's like, oh yeah, I might, start talking about like didn't even know, like, Plat8. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I would imagine, you use your home to experiment with things, and like if you like something, you might bring it to the restaurant or whatever. How do you
Go about that, like
Yeah.
create recipes and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So like, I like to change the menu every season. So like in between, like I'm working on a new spring menu right now, but like leading up to this point, every weekend at the restaurant we'll do specials, and like throughout that week we'll figure out what specials we want to do, what my vendors have, like fish wise or different proteins and stuff like that. and then we'll make up a dish, and then we'll run it that week as a special. And if it sells or people like it, then we'll keep that in our back pocket, and eventually probably put that on the next menu. And that's how it goes for like each new menu.
Yeah. So how many do you think, like percentage wise, how many like after the special for the week make it to like, hey, we're gonna use it for the season?
Maybe like 40%. Okay. Yeah, because there's some duds in there for sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Not all of them are good.
Do you stick to stuff on the menu like? Because you're stubborn, you're like, I know this is good. I know people are gonna like this.
I am like I am pretty humble, but I also have a big head sometimes. So it's like I want to put these scallops on the menu because I know they'll sell, and then they don't sell. Then I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one.
That's right. Because I know, like I said, when I used to do comedy, there was jokes I would do, and I would do a couple shows, and they wouldn't go well, and in my head I'm like, I know this is gonna go well. I just got to keep trying,
working it out and everything.
And then after a while, like, you know what, this just ain't it, man.
Yeah. Are you still doing comedy?
I am not. No, it's been a while since I've done it. I still write stuff, you know, from time to time and do it, but it's just one of those things low on the list.
Right.
It's fun, and I like doing it. You know, I did a couple Moth shows too. I don't know if you know what the Moth is.
No.
So Moth is it's a podcast, but they do. It's not. It's just stories. So like. There's a open, kind of like an open mic. You can go up. I did one in Michigan. I think it was in Ann Arbor. And you put your name in a hat. They pull 10 people. If you sometimes you get your name pulled, and sometimes you don't. You get a 5-minute story on whatever. Like
they give you the story.
They give you like, hey, this the theme of the night is, you know, happiness or food or whatever, and then you have to have the story built around that, and you just tell it whatever. You know?
On the fly.
So they give you the theme.
Yeah.
Like you can go now on the website and you can see the theme months ahead of time, so you can like make a story, and then if they pick you, they pick you. If not, you know, you just watch these stories. But I like doing that a lot too.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah,
it's fun to do that, and a lot of it was just my jokes anyway. But it is fun just speaking in front of people, you know. So
that's like when I have to do like wine dinners and different events and stuff, I have to stand up and talk. Like I'll get like self-conscious, like, did I talk loud enough? Did they hear what I said? Or, you know, did they laugh at that joke or whatever? Yeah. So I know it's tough getting in front of people and telling jokes and stuff.
Yeah. Do you like doing those things?
I do actually really like doing those things because it's a different, you know, pace than regular dinner service.
Yeah.
We just focus on doing our courses for that day. And it's usually something totally different that's on the menu. And I do pride myself in like being able to pair the flavors of any, you know, alcohol, the wine. Like we just did a bourbon dinner. So pairing the food with the flavors of that is like something I really am good at.
Yeah.
So I like doing that a lot.
Okay.
I just don't like talking to everyone.
But people want to talk to the chef.
Yeah,
though, right?
They do. So I suck it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're good enough. I would imagine you're good enough to do it that it's still a thing that people want to do. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you go to Plat8 and they're like, hey, don't do it. He's horrible. He's horrible at talking. The food's good, but just go on a different night when he's not talking to you. That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's cool. So let's go back a little bit. Obviously, like I said, we grew up together. You've been around the Toledo area. What did when you were in school? I know you're a chef now, but when you were in school, like, were you into sports? Did you play sports?
Yeah. I loved basketball, baseball. I just wasn't the greatest, but I loved playing sports. But I was into cooking early on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, your dad kind of cooked a little bit. Well, your grandma always had really good food.
Yeah.
And then my dad and stuff cooking. So picking that up and watching them kind of really inspired me. I was in like DECA, the business program.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, Whitmer did their culinary program. So I ended up switching to that, and I had already been cooking and stuff. So from there, I was like, I want to join their culinary program and, you know, just learn more as I went on.
What when you were in high school, what's like one of your favorite things to make?
Pasta, any kind of pasta. Yeah, it was easy back then.
Yeah,
like just make a tomato sauce and some penne pasta or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, my mom, and I always tell this story. Like the other reason why I started cooking because my mom couldn't cook at all. Sorry, Mom. I love you. You're really good at desserts, though. But
You know what? And some people are the opposite. Like they're real good cooks, but they can't bake anything.
exactly.
You know?
And I'm not a good baker myself. So
Yeah. There you go.
Well, yeah, it was like Burger King again, Mom. All right, I'm just gonna make dinner.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But maybe that kind of led you into like not necessarily forcing you, but
Yeah.
you're just like, hey, Mom, I'll help out here.
Yeah,
And make some.
and I've always like I like making stuff for people, making them smile, and
Yeah.
good food is the way to people's hearts.
Yeah. So when you were finishing up at Whitmer, like what was your like next step? Like did you have something in mind? Did you know what you wanted to do after?
I went to Owens for a little bit to start in their culinary program. I only lasted like maybe 2 semesters. I just wasn't a fan of like doing the math classes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to be in the culinary program, but those classes I wasn't a fan of. So I ended up dropping out and then realized, I can just kind of learn on the job. So that's what I did. First started working in a bakery for like 3 years, making donuts. So I don't like donuts after because of that experience.
Just because you've seen them so much?
Yeah. The smell and just the sugar everywhere.
Is that all you were making there?
Yeah, that's all I was doing. Yeah.
And they wouldn't even like shift you around anywhere? Or do anything?
No. Like my cousin owned it at the time, and so she did all the like pies and cookies and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just be the donut guy, I guess.
Yeah, I was saying like sometimes like if you show like, hey, can you show me how to do this or do that?
Yeah. That's when I have young cooks in the kitchen, I always encourage them. If they don't really know one ingredient or this technique, I'm just ask, man. We'll show you.
Yeah.
But that's the key is like, if you don't speak up, if you don't talk, then you don't know, what's going on.
Yeah, I know now. When I work for the Metro Parks, and when I talk to our HR people, like, hey, we got to figure out a way to engage our best employees. Like, they want to move up, they want to like be more involved and do other things. Maybe not necessarily on their job description, but the main thing is, and we talk about it. The main thing is, they also like we recognize them for the work they're doing, but they also have to put in effort to want to do these things.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to say. If they're not saying, hey, jumping at the chance to do these other things, then why are we going to?
Yeah, going the extra mile to try to, train them and show them when they really don't have, they don't really want to do it.
Yeah, it's a two-way street there. Like, we want to invest, but we want to see that you also want to invest in yourself. And most employees that I come across at Metro Parks are like that. Like, they, even the ones that are like, I love my job where I'm at, I don't want to move up, but help me be a better in this position. And it's nice like for you to hear that you tell your young chefs like, please ask questions when we're doing something. If you're involved in whatever, obviously there's going to be times where you can't teach, right? Because it's busy and that kind of stuff. But there are other times where you're like, hey, we're doing this thing, and when we're done tonight, it's only going to take an extra 10 minutes. I can show you what we did.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said, it goes really in any career. Like as long as you are willing to ask, I'm sure the people above you are willing to train and show you. Because that just makes the world go around, makes people better. And
have you trained people and then lost them to other jobs?
Yeah, about like so many times.
Yeah.
It's just the restaurant industry is in and outdoor. You see a lot of people that are good and just want to move on to another opportunity, and I love that, and I still keep in touch with those people. And then you got other ones that just come in and want the paycheck, and then they're not happy with the situation, and they just leave.
That's what we talked about too at work. Like, we can't be afraid to develop people, just like you. You can't be afraid to develop the next chef, right? Because if you're afraid to do that, then you're not going to have a good employee.
Yeah.
Like the best like sign of you're doing a good job is when someone else wants your employee.
Yeah,
right?
for sure, definitely.
And you got to feel pride in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna train them because you think they might leave eventually, then it's just only gonna hinder you and the employee.
Yeah, yeah. What? So you decided, that college wasn't for you.
Yeah.
Same thing for me. Like, I wasn't ready for college right out of high school. I eventually went and got my degree at Owens, but I don't know. I just wasn't ready.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I mean, you're still so young once you graduate high school, and like, as we get older, it's just crazy, like how life is and stuff. But yeah, some people aren't ready to go straight to college, and some people are. But
yeah. So you made donuts for 3 years. You hate donuts now. And
Yeah.
Then, and after that, where'd you end up after that?
So I ended up at this Italian restaurant. It's called the Scola's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not around anymore.
It was that on the airport?
Yeah, on the airport, yeah. And he had a second location on Holland, Sylvania, in like Sylvania. That was like their more casual one.
Okay.
So the chef owner, Musa is his name, worked for him for about 5-6 years. He also had a burger bar joint.
Okay.
It was out on Heather Downs and Monroe Street. So I was working at the burger bar place in the mornings, and then I was doing the Italian restaurant at night, and just learning as much as I could. And then about 5 years went by, and the investors of Plat8 hired Musa to be like the chef / consultant, and then he brought me on board as the sous chef, which basically is like the guy that does everything but doesn't have the title of the real chef. So that's a fun position. Yeah. And then he eventually left after like 6 months, and then I became the executive chef.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So when we went to a Scola a few times. I think I worked for Healthcare REIT at the time. We had like a Christmas party there one time. I liked it there.
Yeah, it was
a really cool place.
really nice restaurant. It had that real cool like mob vibe and everything. You know, you might get whacked in the bathroom or something.
You're right. Yeah. I didn't even know they had another location.
Yeah. He at one point he had 5 restaurants. He had 3 La Scolas. He had 2 up here, 1 down in Findlay, and then he had the 2 burger bars.
All right.
I was like, I don't know how you did that, man, because like running 1 restaurant's stressful enough. Having 5 is crazy.
Definitely, and running one and then being the chef also, like it's one thing to like, all right, I'm going to be at this restaurant tonight, do whatever I got to do, and then I'll probably cut out early because I want to go check out the other restaurant. But if you're the chef, like...
you're kind of stuck.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So you said it was an Italian restaurant. Do you have... And maybe this isn't the case. Wherever you're cooking or wherever you're working at, is there something like you like when someone orders something, you're like, I just love making this for whatever reason?
Not particularly. I mean, definitely fish. I love doing fish dishes. Okay. I find that a challenge. And then also like vegan dishes, like trying to turn a vegetable into like an actual whole entree is tough and challenging, but I like doing that.
Do you get a lot of vegan dishes?
Yeah. Like I always try to have at least 1 or 2 on the menu.
Okay.
And I try to, use a lot of local produce as much as possible. I use a farm down in Tiffin called Ream Farms for a lot of produce. I have this local lady who does our microgreens, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to keep the money in the city and
sure.
not using big businesses.
Yeah, is it difficult to like
acquire some of the stuff? Yeah, just like scheduling sometimes, because like sometimes they're not up here. It might be like an extra week before they come up here with the produce. Or and then they sold the one thing that I wanted, and then I have to pivot and find a different product to use.
What when you were the sous chef, obviously you do a lot of the work. You do you pretty much make a lot of the things, right? When they said, hey, we want you to be the executive chef, were you like nervous about it?
I was I was like ready for it. I wanted to do it because I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was super nervous because I didn't know what I was doing because I never was in that position before.
I would imagine. Did they make you like go through interview process and that kind of stuff, or like, hey, Anthony, we want you to?
Yeah. After Musa left, they were just like, well, you're the only one left, so I guess you're the chef. I'm like, okay then.
So you didn't even like, hey. I would imagine at some points people got to go up to be like, hey, I know he's leaving. I want to do this, but it was just like, so maybe like you almost felt like, I don't know, if that would happen to me, I'd feel like, well, I'm just an interim then, like, did they tell you like right from the get, like, yes, you are it right now and we're not looking for anybody, or did you just in the back of your mind think like, well, I'm just going to get replaced at some point. I'm going to do my best now.
I think they had a lot of, They knew I could do the job.
Okay, good.
Yeah. They had a lot of pride in me and knew I could handle it. So yeah, there was never a conversation about them trying to, we might need to find someone else.
Yeah.
They trusted me.
Yeah. What did you when you became the executive chef? Did you like change things right away, or it's like, hey, I'm just trying to figure this out now?
Yeah,
Let's
well,
get to
because
it.
a lot of chefs do have egos, so
Yeah.
it was his menu, and then when I took over, I was like, all right, I'm doing my menu. But I take a lot of influence from stuff that he's done, just because I was around him for a while and looking around the city. There's a lot of great restaurants in the city, and more chefs need to be able to help other chefs along the way, younger chefs, and if there's a dish on their menu that a younger chef wants to take and put their own spin on it, like don't be mad. Like imitation is one of the best forms of flattery.
Yeah.
So
Is there a network? Like, do you guys network at all? Like, or is it just too much competition? Where
there's too much competition.
Really?
We try to network. Like I did have the chef from Benchmark. He was at that bourbon dinner on Monday.
Okay.
So yeah, when we have events like Barefoot on the Beach or like Zest of the Nation or I forget what Zest of Toledo. It's a lot of these bigger events for like charities and stuff that a lot of the chefs have booths and the restaurants are next to each other. And we try to talk and collaborate, but some are more willing than others.
Yeah, I would imagine the threat of like, oh, if I show them this thing, they're gonna take it. But again, like, what does it matter?
Right.
I think the people who are like, I'm just using Benchmark. I'm not saying he took anything or whatever. I'm just using Benchmark because you brought it up. Let's say he was at that bourbon dinner. He saw something that you made. Like you said, like I would be excited that they want to do something.
Yeah, that they want to do a spin on something that I created. Yeah. Like I said, that shows like you're willing to take other inspirations from other chefs, and I do the same thing.
Yeah. Because like you said, it can be there is egos involved, so it can be like, well, this is really good, but it could be like I don't want to take it because it's his, or I can make this so much better. Which again, like whatever, do what you got to do. I like that attitude.
Yeah.
Because I think having that attitude makes you the same thing with teaching younger chefs without not being scared that they're gonna leave. Same thing with like it just makes it more open to like I'm gonna make all these dishes, and if someone takes them, cool, whatever. But there's no like, well, I really love this. I'm never gonna make it because I don't want people to have it.
Yeah. Like you cannot look at this recipe. This is mine.
Yeah, it seems like a hard thing to do.
Yeah, and like it's because you're trying to get all these customers in the restaurant. The profit margins are real slim, so all these pennies add up. So if you have a dish that people go crazy over, you don't want people to take it. But if the restaurant's on the other side of town, like what's the difference? We're not stealing your clientele.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I would imagine it does happen, but like sometimes you probably don't even know sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You kind of just do it without even thinking. Like, well, I saw that dish, and then it pops in your head to use the same protein, like salmon, for instance. Like you saw the salmon dish, and you're like, well, I want to do something with salmon.
Yeah. Do you like visiting other restaurants or checking out other restaurants?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Benchmark yet, or their new one, Claude's. But Registry Bistro downtown is one of my favorite restaurants.
Okay.
And then Musa has a restaurant downtown called Souk. That's one of my other favorite restaurants. Then like my watering hole when I leave work is Nick and Jimmy's.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Get a slice of pizza and a beer, whatever.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're cooking like these elegant things, you're just like, I just want a hot dog.
Yeah. My freezer's filled with Hot Pockets right now.
Perfect, man.
Yeah. I do get a lot of flack for it. It was like, what, you're eating Taco Bell tonight? You make like $50 entrees. I'm like, just mind your business.
Well, it's the same thing with those donuts. You're like, I don't want to eat them.
Yeah. I treat myself every now and then, but
Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you go to restaurants, do you, especially if you frequent one, do you tend to get the same thing, or do you try different things?
I like to try different things. Yeah. I'm not a huge like ordering steak when I go out, just because I can do it at home. And the price of beef is ridiculous. So yeah, I like to if I see an interesting pasta on a menu, or a seafood that I haven't tried before. Yeah, I'd usually lean towards that.
I love seafood's my favorite.
Yeah. Are you a big like fish or like shellfish?
Anything,
anything, yeah.
any seafood. I'll try it, especially if it's like a new restaurant.
Yeah.
My wife tends to like when we go to restaurants over and over, like she'll just choose like the same couple things. But even if like our usually our restaurant, our go-to restaurant is Chili's because my daughter loves like that's her favorite pizza.
Yeah, is it Chili's? I didn't even know they had pizza.
Yeah, it's just a little kid's pizza. She loves it. It's either that or we just went a couple days ago to El Vaquero.
Oh, nice.
Too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always try like different things. But I think I do like shellfish more. But salmon is really good. We used to make this salmon, this grilled salmon with this avocado salsa, which is really good.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things too. Like when we like made it a bunch, and then you're like, I don't want to eat it anymore. You know?
Yeah, I'm
so
kind of tired of this. Yeah, right now.
Yeah. I shrimp. I can eat so like
Yeah,
the cocktail shrimp and just dip it in that sauce.
Yeah, for sure.
What is clam? I get this dish at Biaggi's. It's like a spicy pasta with a bunch of different
shellfish. Yeah,
in
okay.
it. Although I have cut my tongue
On one of those
Yes.
shells. Yeah,
Like
they're
it breaks off
dangerous,
or
dude.
something.
Yeah.
But it's really good. Scallops, I love scallops.
Yeah, scallops are awesome.
I think we made them a few times at the house because we used to watch Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And they would always mess up scallops.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like these guys are supposed to have this huge resume of working in all these big cities, and they're messing up scallops. I'm like, what's going on here? This has to be scripted or something. I don't know.
So that's why, like, I remember, like, that's one of the reasons we first did them. I was like, well, how, like, I don't know how hard it is. I've never made them.
Yeah.
So I went online, found them, and we made them, and they were really good. I'm like, and they always mess up risotto, too.
Yeah.
And I've never made risotto, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
It's just a little tricky, like when you start making the risotto. I always have risotto on the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love risotto. But when you like actually start making it, it's just a long process because you have to continually add stock to it.
Okay.
So you're releasing the starch out of the rice, and arborio rice is a really starchy rice, so that's why it ends up being kind of creamy like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy how many things they mess up on that show. You got Gordon in the background. You messed up the risotto again.
Oh, we used to watch it a lot.
Yeah,
like, it was one of our favorite shows.
Mine was Chopped. I like watching Chopped. Yeah.
I would imagine Chopped for you is because like you just open it up, you're like, all right, let's see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember there's one like they always get dinged when like it's an appetizer round and they make like little tacos, and then the next round and there's like I remember watching one a few weeks ago where the guy's like, well, here's my dish. It doesn't look the best, but John made tacos again.
Yeah, he's ripping it. Yeah, throwing him under the bus. If you guys didn't notice that he made tacos again.
Are there other cooking shows that you like?
Chopped. They have a newer one on Fox where it's like they're in like different levels, like a super nice kitchen, like kind of a crappy kitchen, and then a real crappy kitchen. That one's pretty cool.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I kept seeing the ads like during the Super Bowl. They would show the ads, and I was like, I want to watch that because then even the ingredients, like the top level gets to pick first.
Yeah.
And then they go down,
and then it goes
left.
down. Then you got like liver and kidneys left on the bottom, and you're cooking in like a beat down run kitchen.
Yeah, I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Is that Gordon Ramsay too? Isn't that
he's on? Yeah, he is on that.
Yeah. That looks fun. It looks like I mean, all those are super stressful, especially when you have them yelling at you.
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle that. I've been yelled at enough in kitchens growing up.
Yeah. My thing. I've never been like a yeller. I coach, and I have a bunch of a staff at the Metro Parks. I just like. I can't imagine getting angry enough to like yell at employees.
Right. Or like, people throw things and stuff. What are you, 5 years old?
Yeah, I might do it by myself, like in my office.
Yeah.
Get upset.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, because I think it totally changes. Like when the first time you do it, it totally changes how people see you.
Yeah. Like why is this guy losing his cool like that? Like I just dropped the pass.
Yeah.
So yeah, what positions do you coach?
So right now, I'm coaching a softball team right now.
Okay.
I probably end up helping with Mateo's baseball team
Yeah.
too. But this will be my 5th season as a varsity football coach.
Yeah.
I've coached wide receivers for 2 years, and then tight ends.
Nice.
Yeah. So I love it, man. It's so much fun, and it's more too. Like my family's there. Like
Yeah.
Mateo was a water boy for us on Friday nights, and I coached the JV teams too. So him and Lillian would help there too in the morning. So
that's sweet.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
I really like it. So I do want to go back to fish because you said you like fish and seafood. What is it like? I don't know why I like it so much. Maybe it's because I can't get it a lot. But why is it for you? Like, it's just something you really enjoy.
Yeah, because it's the different flavors, and so like all steak pretty much tastes the same. I mean, there's different grades of steak or whatever, but with fish, there's just so many different varieties in different parts of the world where you can get it from. Like more of the fattier fish, I like. It's like melts in your mouth because like I love butter. Do a lot of butter sauces and stuff. So like a lot of fish like kind of melts away in while you're trying it. It melts like butter in your mouth. Yeah. So
Costco has that salmon thing. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like 3 big fillets of salmon, and then it's got 3 huge butter packs.
Butter,
And it's cool because you take it all. It has dill on it, and you just put the whole thing in the oven.
Yeah,
and just
make it easy.
Yeah.
That was one thing I was looking at doing too. Is like boxed meals and stuff. Or for like whether it be for less fortunate or whatever, or for customers, it's just to take it home and you don't have to worry about either going out or you don't have time to make dinner yourself. So that's something I was looking into.
I would imagine that's difficult too because you still like the integrity of your dish.
Yeah,
like just it can't help but go down.
Yeah,
right. It's just the nature of what it is.
How
right?
it's gonna happen. Yeah,
and that's I think people got over that pretty quick though during the pandemic because all you could do is order takeout. Even Chili's, like we would order Chili's takeout or Frickers, and we knew it wasn't gonna be good. But knowing that we couldn't go to the restaurant, it was awesome.
And you're probably sick of being stuck at home eating, whatever. So
yeah. But I mean, the worst and obviously fast food restaurants know how to do it, but the worst is when you order fries from a restaurant.
After 5 minutes, they're all soggy. Yeah. I usually eat my fries before I get home. Just digging in the bag, driving.
Yeah, this is. I want the best of what they have to offer here.
Yeah.
I'm already eating this garbage food.
Yeah, something's got to be, have some integrity left to it.
Yeah. Whenever we go to on vacations, like Andrew and I went to Florida in January, and I was like, we're by the ocean. All I'm gonna ever eat is seafood. And so we ordered it was a tuna dish. It was almost like nachos, but the tuna was on the bottom and it was raw.
Okay.
And I don't care. Like I'll eat raw stuff.
Yeah.
But Andrea was a little skeptical about it because she doesn't as much. But man, that was probably one of the best.
Was it delicious?
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah, probably super fresh right out of the ocean.
Yeah, man, it was really good. And I always try to look for that stuff, even when we do sushi. Like we usually do cooked sushi just because we're sharing it.
Yeah.
But I'll eat raw stuff.
Do you have a favorite sushi restaurant?
The only one we ever go to and get sushi at is the one here in Perrysburg.
Nagoya.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So we'll go there. I've never been to like a restaurant where it's like, hey, here's what we do.
Yeah.
Sushi, but I do like sushi. I'll even buy it at Meyer. They make the sushi there in little packets or whatever.
Nice.
Like it's another one of my favorite things to eat. But again, like with kids, you're limited on what you're making, and we don't like making 2 things.
Yeah.
So, but they've been open to trying more things, which is good,
Yeah, you can't have chicken tenders every night.
Yeah. Mateo more than Lily. Mateo will try things at least, and if he doesn't like it, fine. Sometimes he's like, "Oh, this is good," and then we'll give him more. He's like, "It's not that good."
Yeah, I thought it was good, but no.
One bite, I guess, is good.
Yeah, I went to Kyoto. It's on Central in like Sylvania. This was a couple years back, but they did a tuna tasting. So he brought in a whole fresh 300-pound tuna, put it right in front of everyone, and he just starts dissecting it in front of everyone, cutting it right there for you to try. Like even fed me, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" But it was so good, super delicious.
Oh man, the first time I had tuna, we went to raw. We went to visit Andrea's family in New York, and the place we were staying was with a family friend, and we got there pretty late. It was probably 10:30, 11 o'clock, but they were all up. We had a couple of drinks, and he got tuna out. and it was just on a plate, sprinkled sesame seeds, and had this little torch, and just basically torched the sesame seeds.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Andrew, I was like, and they started eating it. I'm like, oh, I guess we're eating it.
Yeah.
And it was so good,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Tuna's, yeah, tuna's really good. We have been to Claude's. We went to Claude's a few months ago, and Benchmark. I usually, when we go to Benchmark, somebody else usually pays for it. Like I'll go with Andrea's family for everything, whatever, and they pay for it. But the bread, I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
it's like the popover or whatever. Yeah, that looks super cool.
Those things are so good
Yeah.
too. Just throw butter on it, and I don't know what it is about that. There's restaurants for maybe people like just expect it. Like when you go to a Mexican restaurant, you're gonna get chips and salsa. When you go to an Italian restaurant, you're gonna get some sort of garlic bread. Yeah. And do you guys have anything like that at Plat8?
No, I try to stay away from that.
Do you really? Okay,
Yeah.
explain that. Why?
Well, it's just like, I don't know, if they fill up on the bread, they're not going to want to eat their entree, or maybe they won't order an appetizer. But like 3 of the appetizers and a couple of the entrees come with bread. Like I have these steak tips and a gorgonzola cream sauce. So that comes with some grilled bread.
Okay.
And I can like scoop it up and eat it. Or one of the entrees is cioppino, which is like a seafood stew.
Okay.
It's like in a roasted tomato seafood broth, and that comes with bread, and they can dip it in there. But yeah, I try to stay away from that.
Is there any pushback like from anybody at the restaurant saying, "Hey, what do you think?"
Like maybe once a month. Yeah. Like, where's the bread and butter? I'm like, we're not an Italian restaurant, sir.
What is? I guess what would you call your restaurant?
We started it as a farm to fork restaurant, so try to utilize a lot of local ingredients. But it's kind of evolved where I still try to do that as much, but it's harder to get nowadays. But it's just everything's scratch made in house. It's real chef driven. Everything's super fresh, and it's just seasonal. And I just try to take inspiration from everywhere. Like I'll have a couple Asian dishes, a couple Spanish dishes, and Italian. So with a lot of like French techniques, a lot of like just classic American techniques. And I have like green tomatoes on the menu, so more southern stuff. So with whatever I want to do.
Yeah, that's cool too because. I mean, this is away from what your restaurant is, but the one thing I like about like Cheesecake Factory is like their menu's gigantic.
Yeah.
But like if you want Mexican food, if you want, they got steak, they got pasta, they got all kinds of stuff, Asian food.
Yeah, you want to try to cater to have something for everyone. That's why I try to have a vegan dish on the menu stuff like that. But our restaurants, we only have like 60 seats, and the kitchen is the size of a closet, so I can't have like that big of a menu and keep all the product fresh and stuff like that.
Well, I think that's what's good about you changing it seasonally, right? Yeah. Because people will come to your restaurant like, oh, it changed. Like, let's see what's new.
Yeah,
and, check it out.
Yeah, it creates some buzz. And then the regulars can have a chance to try something new, so that not trying the same thing every time.
Yeah.
There's some like favorites that people have, and when I do take it off the menu, I get, why didn't you leave the short ribs on the menu? I'm like, it's 90 degrees outside. I had to change it. Sorry, I'm not doing pot roast right now.
Yeah, because some of those dishes are clearly like a wintertime dish.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's also good, like to hear like people want your dishes, right? Hey, just hang on, we'll bring it back at some point or whatever, But it's good to like. Same thing when I don't put an episode out and I get a phone call or a text from someone like, "Hey man, where's your episode?" It makes you feel good. Like
people want it.
Yeah, people want to hear it. Same thing. Where you like people want to eat your food. You're like, hey, I don't have this thing right now on the menu, but this is new. Try this.
Yeah, try this new dish. Yeah.
That's cool. I do like that you mix it up like that. Do you, as someone with kids, do you have like kids dishes? Or is it more an adult
I have
restaurant?
I'll do like a kid's buttered noodle pasta dish, grilled cheese, kid's burger, and we'll like hand bread chicken for like chicken tenders.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing too crazy, but a couple things on there for kids.
I mean, those things you told me right now leads me to say, oh, I can take my kids there.
Yeah.
Because they'll eat those. They'll eat chicken tenders. They'll eat the burger, even the buttered noodles. Like my daughter will make pasta one night with red sauce or whatever, and then the next night we have extra noodles, and she'll just put Parmesan cheese and butter on it. You know, so
yeah, I know kids, and they're the toughest critics. Kids,
oh, for
you know,
sure.
if they can enjoy something you made, then you know you made it.
Yeah. Grilled cheese too. That's one of my favorite things to eat. Like I'll go to a restaurant, and if I see a grilled cheese, I'll order grilled cheese. Like I love grilled cheese.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it, especially like if like the cheese gets like that crispy crust on the edge.
Yeah. When I worked at Healthcare REIT, there was a kitchen there, and they served lunch to the employees. So we would go eat, and I'd always order a grilled cheese and some sort of soup or something.
Yeah.
It was cheap, and it was just good. And I would always tell, because we became good friends with the chef back there, and I always tell him, like, you know, hey, I want a grilled cheese. He's like, what kind? After a while, he knew I would just say, whatever, you know, try whatever, cheese, man, whatever you want to do this time, you know, or if you want to throw some
bacon on there,
or tomato, or you know, anything. Like, I just want a grilled cheese. You make it how you want to make it this time, you know. So, which I would imagine, you know, chefs like sometimes too, right?
For sure. They like that challenge of, all right, he's had it this way 5 times. I'm going to switch it up for him.
Yeah, and then, you know, then it also gives you the opportunity to come out and say, well, how was it?
Yeah.
Or did you like this part? Or did you notice I changed this thing or whatever, you know? Yeah, I think I like doing that to people. It's the same thing with like just art, right? In general,
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
This is how I make it. Do you like how I make it? Because I'm making you eat my food, but I'm not going to custom make a bunch of things all the time.
Right.
That's going to happen, right? Just like you say with vegan food, or like, hey, I want this meal, but without the onions or whatever.
You try to cater to the customers. So if they have, dietary restrictions or whatever the case may be, or, they don't like tomato on the burger, just let us know. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you get to like, when I have like an entree and these specific flavors are going together and you don't want the sauce with it and you don't want the risotto, you just want roasted vegetables, then it's like, come on, guy, I made this dish. This is my art.
This is perfect how it is, man. Or the people who get their food served to them and immediately put salt on it. You're like, wait, you haven't even tasted it yet.
Right. I know a lot of those. A lot of the servers do that. I was like, you know who I am, right? I know how to season things.
Yeah, I tend not to, with any food, really I like pepper.
Yeah.
I'll put pepper on a lot of stuff, but
yeah,
not
I'm a
necessarily
big pepper
salt.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, but not necessarily salt. Even, when my mom cooks or my in-laws cook, the only thing I'll put salt on is any sort of like potato, like tater tots, even mashed potatoes, French fries, that stuff.
You can't have too much salt for those.
And even my daughter now is like, I'll make, I'll dice up potatoes and just fry them up for breakfast, like breakfast potatoes. And then she's like, make sure you put extra salt on there. And I'll put it in there. She's like, did you put extra salt? I'm like, yes, you told me. I've been making these for a while now. But she won't let anybody, like, I think now she does, but for a long time, she wouldn't let anybody else make those. Like, she wouldn't eat any of those potatoes from someone
Anyone else, yeah.
Just it had to be me that cooked them for whatever
She had to watch you put the salt on it. She's in the corner.
Yeah, man, but that was one of my favorite things to do is breakfast. Like, I like breakfast. I don't wake up early enough to make it during the week, but sometimes on the weekend I'll make it. But that was also something my dad really liked. I remember my dad making breakfast.
Yeah, that's the same thing with my dad. I remember waking up smelling like bacon and eggs. It was like noon because that's when I'd wake up. But
oh yeah.
But we're looking at doing brunch too. Here in a couple of weeks, like Easter Sunday, we'll do a brunch, and then after that, every Saturday we'll have like we'll call it jazz brunch. We'll have a jazz player like in the corner, and then we'll do brunch for a couple hours.
Is that like a separate menu, or is it still?
Yeah. So like as I'm constructing this new spring menu, I'm trying to find different pieces that could work with brunch as well.
Okay.
Like we're gonna be doing these salmon cakes as a appetizer. So then for brunch it would be salmon cakes, eggs Benedict. So that kind of stuff. Or like these like braised short ribs that I do. We'll do braised short rib hash instead of corned beef hash.
Oh.
Yeah.
So not only are you keeping in mind, you're like, all right, I have this new spring menu, but I also had to be able to use this twice.
Yes.
But in a different way.
Yeah. So that, try to use as much product as possible.
Yeah.
I like crafting brunch. Like, just something about brunch is kind of sexy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like I think it's because just people don't do it.
Yeah,
you know?
there's a couple of good brunch places around the city, but
Yeah.
mostly it's just like breakfast places.
Yeah.
But trying to find those dishes that are in between breakfast and lunch is really fun to do.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's a challenge too.
Yeah.
Like you might create something you're like, and you look at it, you're like, this is totally lunch. Like, and really, it's
Yeah.
just a matter of like 2 hours.
Yeah.
But like something in your brain is like, this ain't gonna work. You know?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what are you talking about? It's just when it's brunch, just serve this food 2 hours earlier, and then it's brunch,
Then
man.
it's-
You're good.
You're fine. Before 11, it's brunch.
Oh, that's fun. So, where are you at with the spring menu now? Is there something like you can talk about? Like, here's what I know for sure, or you still?
Yeah, I have about like 90% of it done. I'm just working out a few appetizers.
Okay.
But we will be doing scallops.
Oh, nice.
Scallops with the celery root puree. Celery root is the root of celery.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's a cross between like a potato and like a cabbage almost.
Okay.
But it's got a little bit of sweetness to it. So we'll cook that down, puree it, add a little bit of goat cheese, make it super creamy.
Oh, nice.
And then scallops will be topped with crispy prosciutto, and then a tomato basil coulis, which is a type of sauce that's like you cook the tomatoes and basil down, puree that, you add some cold water, and then you strain it, and then it'll kind of like firm up on you, and then you can just like put it in a squeeze bottle and make cool dots with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's gonna be a cool dish. Also looking at some lamb chops. Leeks are one of my favorite vegetables.
Why is that?
It's just like I love onions and garlic, and it's kind of like the cross between that.
Okay.
But it's a little more milder than an onion.
Okay.
So I like working with those. But I'm looking at creamed leeks, like a play on cream spinach, with the lamb chops and like a mustard sauce. So yeah, both those two dishes I'm excited about.
Yeah. That's when you change your seasons, like, do you take anything, like right now you're doing spring? Do you take anything from last spring at all, or you try to like have brand new stuff all the time?
Sometimes, yeah. It just depends, like who's in the kitchen with me. I am fortunate. I did find a couple of really great guys to add to the kitchen. So if I didn't have these guys, I probably wouldn't be doing scallops because like I can't do all the cooking.
Yeah.
So if I'm back there, or if I'm not back there, and there's someone back there that doesn't know how to do scallops, I'm not gonna put scallops on the menu.
Yeah.
But I usually do take inspiration from older menus that I've done in the past. That's something that I knew that worked.
Yeah. Especially if it's like, I would imagine you can look at numbers too, like, oh, people really like this, so maybe I should bring it back. But I would imagine, and I'm just thinking, just because I know you, like, you're like, I'm going to bring it back, but it's going to be a little bit different than last time.
Because you want to keep it fresh. You want to have the same thing every time.
Yeah. How long have you been there now at Plat8?
We opened in 2017. Been there since then.
Okay.
I did leave for a little bit. I went. It was like the spring of 2021. I left and went to. It was called Firefly.
Okay.
Downtown. It's not there anymore.
It was right by Hensville, right?
Yeah. It was like a high-end cocktail, like tapas restaurant.
Okay.
And the theme, I don't think, just really took off like how we wanted to.
Okay.
And so then the owner of Plat8 had contacted me about coming back, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready to come back. I wasn't able to create as much as I wanted to down at Firefly, so going back to Plat8, being able to create was one of the main things that I wanted to do.
And that's also shows the importance of, like, hey, when you're leaving a place, like, don't burn the bridges, right?
No, yeah.
Like, if you would have left in a horrible way, then there's no way he would have contacted you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I do that with any place. That's old chefs that I've worked for, I still keep in contact, and like I said, that whole like trying to collaborate and stuff like that, it's big for the community.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, I appreciate you coming out here. I know we've messaged before, but I definitely want to come check out Plat8.
Yeah, definitely. Man. And we need to make a trip to a game this year.
Yeah, man.
It's been too long.
We can sit in the back of Suburban and have our drunk dads drive.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, best of luck to you, man.
Thanks,
I look forward, like I said, to when that spring menu comes out. Definitely come and get those scallops. And like I said, whenever we look for restaurants, we always look at the menu. Like, our first question is, all right, what can the kids eat?
Yeah.
But it does sound like there's some options there for them, and even if not, we'll leave them at home and we'll just come by ourselves.
Right, yeah.
Because
just leave them out in the car.
Because I do want to come check it out. I do want to support you.
Yeah, I
you've
appreciate
been, you've been family for a long time, man. So again, thank you for coming on here, sharing your story and sharing what you got.
Thanks for having me, man. This was a blast.
Thanks again to my guest, executive chef at Plat8, Anthony Hoye, for joining me on the podcast. It was really great catching up with him. Like I said, we are family friends. We just stay in touch a little here and there through social media. But it was really cool to sit down, talk to him. Love hearing his processes, explaining the food he makes, why he does what he does. Talking about going to different restaurants, teaching young chefs, which is obviously something I'm really into. Just the growth of employees. And just learning how he makes menus and what he enjoys to cook, what he is into, personally, and he's his freezer's full of Hot Pockets, but hey, that kind of stuff happens. So, thanks again for him to coming on this episode. And as always, thanks to Fort Meigs CrossFit for allowing me to use their office. It's been a great partnership, and I can't thank them enough. People come in here, and it's really professional, and it's really brought the podcast to another level. So I can't thank them enough. If you want to know any information about the classes they have to offer 7 days a week, and for any age group, check out fortmeigscrossfit.com. As always, thanks to Cuttlefish Graphics, Real JP Multimedia, Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.